Dr. Alina Reyes stared at her monitor, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The signal patterns hadn't changed in the last 6 hours, a steady, rhythmic pulse that defied every known natural phenomenon. After 15 years at the SETI Institute, she thought she'd seen everything. She was wrong. The laboratory hummed with the familiar sound of servers and cooling systems, but tonight it felt different. The empty halls of the research facility echoed with possibility. Alina ran the analysis again, her fingers trembling slightly as she typed. The signal wasn't random. It contained patterns, structure, intent. A soft chime from her security panel broke her concentration. Someone had entered the building. At 3 a.m., that wasn't normal. Alina quickly saved her data and reached for her phone, but before she could dial security, the power went out. Emergency lights cast eerie blue shadows across her equipment. Dr. Reyes? The voice came from behind her, soft and melodic, with an otherworldly resonance that made the hair on her neck stand up. Please don't be afraid. Alina turned slowly. The figure standing in her doorway wasn't human. Tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer in the emergency lighting, the being watched her with eyes that held galaxies. Not metaphorically, actual swirling patterns of light danced in those dark orbs. I am Zara, the being said, raising empty hands in a universal gesture of peace. And I need your help to save both our worlds. Alina's scientific mind warred with her instinct to run. The signal, she managed to say. It was you. A warning, Zara replied, stepping into the room. Her movements were fluid, almost hypnotic. My people are coming, Dr. Reyes, but not all of us agree with the invasion plans. Invasion? Alina's voice cracked. She gripped the edge of her desk, steadying herself. Why are you telling me this? Because you understand patterns, communication, and because in all my research about your species, you were the one human who never stopped looking up at the stars with hope instead of fear. Zara's expression shifted, displaying something that might have been a smile. We don't have much time. The Dominion's advance fleet will arrive within days, but there's a chance we can stop them. A distant alarm began to wail. Zara's head snapped toward the sound, her ethereal features tightening with concern. They've found me, the hunters. We need to leave, now. Leave? I can't just. Alina gestured at her lab, her work, her life. Dr. Reyes, Zara's voice took on an urgent edge. In approximately 47 seconds, 3 highly trained assassination units will enter this building. They will eliminate anyone who has had contact with me. Your choice is simple. Come with me and help save your planet, or die here with your research. Alina looked at her monitor, still displaying the signal analysis she'd worked so hard to decode. In those patterns lay proof of everything she'd believed about life beyond Earth. But what good was proof if humanity wasn't around to see it? What do you need me to do? She asked, grabbing her backup drive and laptop. First, run. Zara reached for her hand. The alien's skin felt like silk over steel, warm and strong. I'll explain the rest once we're safe. They fled through dark corridors as heavy footsteps echoed behind them. Alina's heart pounded in her chest, her mind racing with questions. This wasn't how first contact was supposed to go. There should have been committees, protocols, careful diplomatic exchanges. Instead, she was running for her life with an alien fugitive about to become Earth's first line of defense against an invasion. As they burst through the emergency exit into the cool night air, Alina saw 3 black vehicles pulling up to the main entrance. Figures emerged, their forms obscured by some kind of shifting technology that made them hard to look at directly. The hunters, Zara whispered, pulling Alina toward the parking lot. They're worse than you can imagine. The Dominion uses them to eliminate problems, people like me who see the truth about what they're doing. And what are they doing? Alina asked as they reached her car. Zara's galaxy-filled eyes met hers. They're not just invading worlds anymore, Dr. Reyes. They're erasing them. Entire civilizations, cultures, histories gone without a trace. Earth is next on their list unless we can stop them. Alina started the engine, her mind already calculating possibilities. She was a scientist, trained to analyze problems and find solutions. This was just another puzzle to solve, with the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. As they drove away from the facility, Alina glanced in her rearview mirror. The hunters were emerging from the building, their forms rippling like heat waves over asphalt. They hadn't seen them yet, but it was only a matter of time. "Where are we going?" she asked, taking a sharp turn onto the highway. "There's a network," Zara explained, her fingers dancing over what looked like liquid metal wrapped around her wrist. "Others like me who have been trying to warn planets in the Dominion's path. We have a safe house about 300 kilometers north, someone there can help us contact the resistance." Alina pressed down on the accelerator, her old sedan protesting the sudden burst of speed. Her entire life had been dedicated to proving humanity wasn't alone in the universe. Now, racing through the night with living proof beside her, she realized she should have been more careful what she wished for. The stars above seemed different now, knowing what was coming from them. But as Alina glanced at Zara, she saw something in those galaxy-filled eyes that gave her hope, determination. Whatever was coming, they would face it together, human and alien united against a common threat. And maybe, just maybe, that unity would be enough to save them all. Dawn broke over the mountains as Alina's car wound through deserted back roads. The night's events felt surreal, but the alien sitting beside her was very real. Zara hadn't spoken for the last hour, focused on manipulating the liquid metal device on her wrist, her iridescent skin catching the first rays of sunlight. "They're tracking us through thermal signatures," Zara finally said, her galaxy eyes reflecting concern. "We need to find somewhere to hide until nightfall." Alina checked her fuel gauge, running dangerously low. "I know someone," she said, taking a sharp turn onto a gravel road. "If he hasn't moved since the last time I checked on him." The road led them deeper into the forest, eventually ending at what looked like an abandoned ranger station. But Alina knew better. Marcus Hayes hadn't abandoned anything. He'd just gotten very good at making it look that way. "He's former military intelligence," Alina explained as they approached the weathered building. "After the Beijing incident, he went off-grid, said he saw something that made him question everything." "The Beijing incident," Zara's voice held recognition. "That wasn't a meteor strike." "I'm starting to figure that out," Alina muttered, stopping the car. "Let me go first. Marcus can be particular about visitors." Before she could exit the vehicle, the station's door opened. Marcus stood in the doorway, his tall frame filling it completely. Despite living in isolation, he kept himself military neat, close-cropped silver hair, pressed clothes, alert posture. Only his eyes, dark and watchful, betrayed the weight of whatever he'd seen. "Kind of early for a social call, Alina," he called out, one hand clearly behind his back where his weapon would be. "We need help, Marcus." Alina stepped out slowly. "And after what you told me about Beijing, I think you're the only one who might believe us." Marcus's gaze shifted to Zara as she emerged from the car, and his hand tightened on whatever he was holding. But he didn't raise the weapon. Instead, he laughed, a short, harsh sound. "Well," he said, "looks like I wasn't crazy after all." Inside the station, Marcus's preparation for doomsday became apparent. One room was dedicated entirely to communications equipment, another to weapons and supplies. Solar panels and a water filtration system kept him self-sufficient. "Been waiting for this," he said, laying out a map on a table covered in surveillance equipment. "Ever since I saw that ship in Beijing, the brass called me paranoid, stripped my clearance, but I knew they'd come back." "The Dominion," Zara confirmed, studying his setup with obvious approval. "They've been testing Earth's defenses for years. The Beijing operation was meant to assess military response times." "And now they're coming in force," Alina added, watching Marcus's reaction. He nodded unsurprised. "Got strange readings last night. Atmospheric disturbances, satellite glitches, that was you," he asked Zara. "My escape pod," she confirmed. "I had to bypass your orbital detection systems." Marcus's eyes narrowed. "You're not with them, the ones I saw in Beijing." "No," Zara's expression darkened. "I'm part of the resistance, a growing movement within our society that opposes the Dominion's expansion policies. We believe in cooperation, not conquest." "And these hunters," Alina asked, "the ones chasing us, Elite enforcement units, Marcus answered before Zara could, surprising them both. Saw them in action in Beijing. They move like smoke, kill without mercy. Regular weapons barely slow them down. Zara nodded. They're biomechanically enhanced, linked directly to the Dominion's control network. But that link is also their weakness, if we can disrupt it. We can stop them, Marcus finished, a gleam of interest in his eyes. He moved to one of his computers, typing rapidly. Been working on something. After Beijing, I started developing a signal disruptor. Never got it quite right, but with your knowledge. A warning beacon flashed on one of his screens. Marcus immediately shut down all external lights, moving to a window with practiced efficiency. 3 vehicles, he reported, coming up the access road. Hunters, Zara confirmed, her liquid metal device pulsing with red light. They're tracking the thermal trail from your car. Elena's heart raced, but her mind remained clear. Marcus, that basement you showed me last time I visited, the one with the tunnel. He nodded, already moving. Goes out to an old mine shaft, comes up about 2 miles north, but they'll find it eventually. They won't if they're busy with something else, Zara said, her galaxy eyes gleaming with deadly purpose. She raised her wrist device. I can overload their tracking systems, create a massive heat signature that will draw them away, but I'll need to get close. No, Elena grabbed her arm. They'll kill you. They'll try, Zara's skin rippled with patterns of light. But I didn't come all this way to hide. The Resistance needs what I know about the Dominion's invasion plans. You two get to the tunnel. I'll meet you at the exit point. Marcus was already opening the hidden door to the basement. She's right, Elena. Sometimes the best defense is a good distraction. He handed Zara what looked like a modified radio. Signal disruptor, not perfect, but it might give you an edge. Zara took the device, studying it with obvious interest. Impressive work for Earth technology, with some adjustments. Her fingers danced over it, the liquid metal from her wrist device flowing onto the disruptor's surface. Outside, engines grew louder. They had minutes at most. Go, Zara commanded, her voice carrying that otherworldly resonance that made argument impossible. I'll find you. Elena wanted to protest, but Marcus was already pulling her toward the basement. The last thing she saw before the hidden door closed was Zara's form beginning to shimmer with barely contained energy, the modified disruptor pulsing with alien light in her hands. As they hurried through the dark tunnel, the ground above them trembled with the first explosion. Elena silently prayed to whatever might be listening in this vast universe that they hadn't just witnessed the last stand of their only ally against the coming storm. But deep down, she knew this was just the beginning. The real war for Earth's survival was about to begin, and they were going to need a lot more than prayers to win it. The mine shaft's exit was exactly where Marcus said it would be, hidden behind a thick growth of vegetation that hadn't been disturbed in years. Elena's legs burned from the climb, her mind racing with possibilities, none of them good. The forest around them was silent, too silent, as if nature itself was holding its breath. We need to keep moving, Marcus said, checking a compass-like device that definitely wasn't standard military issue. There's an old bunker about 5 miles east, Cold War relic. If your friend survives, she'll be able to track us there. How? Elena asked, following him through the dense undergrowth. The disruptor I gave her, he explained, ducking under a low branch. Modified it to emit a specific frequency, like a beacon, but only if you know what to look for. A distant explosion made them both freeze. Through the trees, they could see a column of blue-tinged smoke rising from where Marcus's station had been. Elena's heart clenched. She's alive, Marcus said with surprising certainty. That blast pattern, it's targeted, controlled. She's leading them away from us. They pushed on through the forest, Marcus moving with the practiced ease of someone used to evading detection. Elena followed his lead, mimicking his movements, staying low and quiet. Her academic life hadn't prepared her for this, but survival was a quick teacher. The bunker, when they finally reached it, looked like nothing more than a hillside. Marcus pressed his hand against what appeared to be solid rock, and a hidden panel slid aside, revealing a biometric scanner. After Beijing, he explained, placing his palm on the scanner. I made some friends. People who'd seen things they couldn't explain. We set up places like this, waiting for the day we'd need them. The hillside split open with a hydraulic hiss, revealing a steel door. Inside, the bunker was a testament to paranoid preparation. Banks of computers lined one wall, their screens displaying data feeds from satellites and radio frequencies. Another wall held weapons, both conventional and some that looked decidedly experimental. "Welcome to Echo Base," Marcus said, activating systems with practiced efficiency. One of 12 similar facilities across the country, part of what we call the Sentinel Network. Alina stared at the setup, understanding dawning. "You've been preparing for an invasion." "We've been preparing for the truth," a new voice said. Both Alina and Marcus spun around to find Zara standing in the doorway, her iridescent skin marked with what looked like battle damage, but very much alive. "How did you?" Alina started. "Your friend's disruptor." Zara held up the modified device, now partly fused with her alien technology. "Brilliant design. It didn't just confuse their tracking systems, it gave me access to their tactical network. I know what they're planning." Marcus was already moving to his computers. "Tell me." "The hunters were just the advanced team," Zara explained, her galaxy eyes reflecting data streams from the screens. "The main invasion force is gathering in your solar system's Kuiper belt, but they're not just bringing weapons." She paused, her expression grim. "They're bringing world-killer technology, devices that can rewrite planetary conditions, erase all traces of existing civilization." "Like they did to your world?" Alina asked softly. Zara's skin rippled with patterns that somehow conveyed deep sorrow. "My world wasn't destroyed, it was transformed. The Dominion doesn't just conquer, they convert. They turn living planets into processing centers, biological resources into fuel for their expansion. Those who survive become part of their collective." Marcus's hands stilled on his keyboard. "How long?" "3 days," Zara replied. "But we might have an advantage they don't expect. Your Sentinel network, it's not the only resistance cell on Earth, is it?" A slight smile crossed Marcus's face. "No, after Beijing, a lot of us started seeing patterns. Military personnel, scientists, ordinary people who'd encountered things they couldn't explain. We started connecting, sharing information, building. Then we have a chance." Zara moved to one of the computer banks, her liquid metal technology interfacing seamlessly with Earth systems. "Because we're not alone either. The resistance within the Dominion has agents on every ship in every invasion force. We've been waiting for a chance to strike." Alina watched as alien data streams merged with human technology, creating something entirely new. "A coordinated resistance," she breathed, "both human and alien." "If we can get word to the other bunkers," Marcus said, already typing commands, "coordinate with your people." "We can fight back," Zara finished. "But we'll need more than weapons. The Dominion's strength isn't just technological, it's their ability to divide and conquer. They turn species against each other, exploit fears and prejudices." "Then we show them something stronger," Alina said, her scientist's mind racing with possibilities. "Unity. Real cooperation between species, if we can prove that humans and your people can work together effectively. We become living proof that their whole philosophy is wrong." Zara's skin brightened with what Alina was learning to recognize as excitement. "And once other species see it's possible." "The whole house of cards comes down," Marcus finished, a predatory grin spreading across his face. "I like it." A warning light flashed on one of the monitors. Marcus quickly brought up a satellite feed showing multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere. "Looks like we're about to get our chance. Those aren't hunters." "No," Zara confirmed, her expression hardening. "Those are harvesters. They'll start establishing conversion points, preparing Earth for the main invasion force." She turned to Alina and Marcus. "Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now." Alina looked at their small group, a xenolinguist, a military strategist, and an alien rebel, and felt something she hadn't expected. Hope. Because in this unlikely alliance, she saw the future. Not just of Earth's resistance, but of what could be if they succeeded. a future where different species worked together, where cooperation replaced conquest. "Then let's get started," she said, moving to join them at the computer bank. "We have a planet to save." Outside, the first harvester ships breached the atmosphere, their arrival masked as meteor showers. But this time, Earth wasn't defenseless. This time, humanity had warning, preparation, and allies they never expected. The real question was, would it be enough? The answer would come soon enough. The war for Earth's future was about to begin, and its outcome would depend on the most powerful force in the universe, the ability of different species to stand together against a common threat. The bunker's command center hummed with activity as screens displayed real-time data from around the globe. Harvester ships had touched down on every continent, disguised as natural phenomena. But thanks to Zara's intelligence and the Sentinel Network's preparation, Earth's resistance was ready. Elena watched as Marcus coordinated with other bunkers, his fingers flying over keyboards as he relayed information. In just 48 hours, they'd assembled a coalition of military personnel, scientists, and civilians who'd encountered evidence of alien activity. More surprisingly, Zara had made contact with dozens of resistance agents within the Dominion's forces. "The harvesters are setting up conversion nodes," Zara announced, her liquid metal interface merging with the bunker's systems. "They're preparing the planet's infrastructure for complete biological reorganization." "Show me." Elena moved closer to the main display, where a holographic map showed pulsing red points across Earth's surface. Each point represented a location where the Dominion was establishing its world-killing technology. "The process is systematic," Zara explained, her galaxy eyes reflecting the holographic light. "They start by seeding the atmosphere with nanoscale processors. Then the conversion nodes activate, releasing programmable matter that begins restructuring organic material at the molecular level." Marcus looked up from his station. "How long before the process becomes irreversible?" "Once the atmospheric seeding reaches critical density, approximately 36 hours. Zara's skin rippled with concern. "After that, the changes to Earth's biosphere will accelerate exponentially." Elena studied the data streams, her scientific training helping her grasp the horrifying elegance of the Dominion's plan. "They're not just changing the environment," she realized. "They're rewriting the fundamental rules of life on Earth." "Correct," Zara confirmed. "The Dominion believes in perfect order. They seek to standardize all life according to their template. Those who survive the conversion process become part of their collective consciousness." A warning beacon flashed across multiple screens. Marcus quickly brought up satellite imagery showing massive energy signatures in orbit. "We've got company, big ships, dropping out of FTL on the dark side of the moon." "The main invasion force," Zara's voice tightened. "They're ahead of schedule. Someone must have warned them about the resistance." The words had barely left her mouth when the bunker's security systems screamed to life. Emergency lights bathed everything in red as blast doors slammed shut throughout the facility. "Multiple breaches detected," Marcus announced, pulling up security feeds. "They're inside the network. Someone's compromised our—" The main screen suddenly flickered, replaced by a face that made Zara's iridescent skin pale to almost white. The being looked similar to her species, but its features were harder, crystalline, its eyes holding not galaxies but cold, dead stars. "Operative Zara," the being's voice filled the bunker, carrying harmonics that made Elena's teeth ache. "Your attempt at rebellion has been instructive. We now understand how deeply the corruption has spread." "Commander Vex," Zara straightened, her voice steady despite her obvious fear. "The only corruption is the Dominion's perversion of our original mission. We were meant to uplift species, not destroy them." The commander's crystalline features shifted in what might have been amusement. "And what has your precious rebellion accomplished? You've merely accelerated the inevitable. Earth's resistance cells are being eliminated as we speak. Your alien sympathizers are being purged from our ranks." Security feeds showed scenes of chaos from other bunkers. Sentinel Network facilities worldwide were under attack, not from outside forces, but from within. Trusted allies turned on their companions, their movements suggesting Dominion control. "Sleeper agents," Marcus growled, his hands clenched into fists. "They've been among us all along." "Of course," Commander Vex said. "Did you think we wouldn't anticipate rebellion? Every resistance movement we've encountered has followed the same predictable pattern. Hope is such an exploitable weakness." Elena's mind raced, processing everything she'd learned about the Dominion's technology. Something wasn't adding up. The way the commander spoke, the timing of the attacks. "Zara," she whispered, "the conversion process, it works on information systems too, doesn't it? Not just biological matter." Zara's eyes widened with understanding. "The nanoscale processors, they're not just in the atmosphere, they're in our communications network, every time we coordinated with other cells." "We were spreading their infection," Marcus finished, horror dawning on his face. "Everything we did to resist them just made their control stronger." Commander Vex's image smiled, an expression devoid of warmth. "Finally, understanding dawns. Your species' reliance on digital networks made Earth particularly susceptible. Your resistance served as the perfect vector for our control protocols." The bunker's systems began to flicker as the Dominion's influence spread through their computers. Elena could see the change happening in real time, alien code overwriting their defenses, turning their own technology against them. But as she watched Zara's face, she saw not defeat, but calculation. The alien rebel's liquid metal interface was pulsing with patterns she'd never seen before, and her galaxy eyes held a dangerous gleam. "You're right about one thing, Commander," Zara said, her voice carrying new strength. "We have spread through Earth's networks, but you forgot the most important lesson about humanity." Her skin began to glow with increasing intensity. "They're at their most dangerous when they have nothing left to lose." The liquid metal from her interface suddenly exploded outward, merging with the bunker's systems in a cascade of light. Elena grabbed Marcus and pulled him back as alien technology merged with human infrastructure in ways she couldn't begin to understand. Commander Vex's image distorted, actual concern showing through his crystalline features. "What are you doing?" "Something predictably hopeful," Zara answered, her form now nearly translucent with power. "And completely impossible." The bunker's lights surged as Zara initiated whatever desperate plan she'd conceived. But as energy cascaded through their systems, Elena realized this wasn't an ending. It was just the beginning of their real fight, and everything until now had just been preparation for what was to come. Light erupted from every screen and circuit in the bunker as Zara's consciousness merged with Earth's digital infrastructure. Elena shielded her eyes, but through her fingers, she could see her alien friend's form becoming pure energy, a being of light and liquid metal interfacing with human technology in ways that should have been impossible. Commander Vex's image flickered across multiple screens, his crystalline features contorted with rage. "You fool! You'll destroy everything, including yourself." "No," Zara's voice resonated from every speaker, her consciousness spread through the network. "I'm going to save everything. Elena, Marcus, remember what we discovered about unity, about true cooperation." Elena's mind raced back to their earlier conversations. The Dominion's weakness, they can't comprehend genuine partnership between species. They only understand control. "Exactly," Zara's energy form pulsed brighter. "Their network relies on dominance, on overwriting and subjugating, but there's another way. Show them, Elena, show them what humans do best." Marcus was already moving, understanding dawning on his face. "We improvise," he said, fingers flying across his keyboard. "We adapt, we take different pieces and make something new." Elena rushed to her station, finally seeing Zara's plan. The alien rebel hadn't just merged with their systems, she'd created a framework, a bridge between human ingenuity and alien technology. But she needed them to complete it. "The conversion process goes both ways," Elena realized, accessing the infected networks. "If we can't shut it down, we redirect it," Marcus finished, his military training combining with their scientific knowledge. "Turn their own weapon against them." Commander Vex's laughter filled the bunker. "You cannot hope to match our technological superiority. The conversion process is beyond your comprehension. Maybe, Alina answered, not looking up from her work. But we don't need to understand every detail of how your technology works. We just need to understand its purpose and change it. Across the globe, other resistance cells were catching on. Those not compromised by sleeper agents began implementing Alina and Marcus's modifications. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its ability to take existing pieces and recombine them into something new. The Dominion's conversion nodes, designed to rewrite Earth's biosphere, began to pulse with new energy. But instead of spreading the invaders' control protocols, they broadcast something else, a hybrid code born from the genuine cooperation between human and alien minds. Impossible, Commander Vex's image distorted as his own ships began responding to the modified signal. Our systems are perfect, standardized, you cannot. That's your problem, Zara's voice rang with triumph. Perfect systems don't evolve, they can't adapt, but life, real life, is messy. It grows, it changes, it learns to work together. The holographic displays showed the effects spreading through the atmosphere. The Dominion's nanoscale processors, meant to enforce their version of order, instead became a network for something entirely new, a true synthesis of human and alien consciousness. You're not just changing the code, Commander Vex realized, actual fear showing in his crystalline features. You're changing the fundamental nature of. His image dissolved as the transformation reached his ships. Throughout Earth's atmosphere, the conversion process continued, but now it created harmony instead of enforcing conformity. Species remained distinct but learned to communicate, to cooperate, to grow together. Alina watched in awe as Zara's consciousness began to reintegrate, her energy form condensing back into physical form. The alien rebel looked different now, still iridescent, still with galaxy eyes, but somehow more connected to the world around her. Did it work? Alina asked as Zara solidified completely. Zara smiled, a genuine expression of joy. See for yourself. The main screen showed scenes from around the world. Dominion ships, their crews freed from rigid control protocols, landing peacefully. Alien technology merging with Earth's infrastructure not to dominate, but to enhance. Former enemies learning to communicate across species barriers. The conversion process wasn't stopped, Marcus observed, studying the data. It was transformed into what it should have been all along, Zara explained. A way for different species to understand each other, to work together without losing what makes them unique. Alina looked at their small group, human and alien, scientist and soldier, each contributing their own strength to create something greater than themselves. So what happens now? Now, Zara's galaxy eyes sparkled with possibility. We build something new. The Dominion wanted to enforce order through control. Instead, we've created harmony through cooperation. It won't be easy. There will be challenges, adjustments, moments of confusion and doubt. But we'll face them together, Marcus added, already coordinating with other resistance cells worldwide. Outside the bunker, dawn was breaking on a changed world. The invasion had been stopped not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through the simple yet revolutionary idea that different species could work together, each contributing their unique strengths to create something greater than themselves. You know, Alina said, watching the sunrise through new eyes, I spent my whole career looking for signs of intelligent life in the universe. I never imagined that when we finally met, the most important thing we'd learn from each other is how to be better versions of ourselves. Zara placed a hand on her shoulder, her touch carrying the warmth of true friendship. That's the greatest discovery any species can make. The bunker systems hummed with the energy of two civilizations working in harmony. Above them, the stars held not threat but promise. The future was uncertain, but they would face it together, proof that in the vast universe, the strongest force wasn't dominance or control, but the power of different beings choosing to stand together, learn from each other, and grow into something greater than they could ever be alone.